What's up, guys? It's Mitch from IGN. I'm sitting down with Kynan Pearson, the lead multiplayer level designer at 343 Industries, here to talk about the Majestic map pack. Kynan, tell me all about Landfall.
So Landfall is our medium scale map. It's great for objective game types, some Rumble and some Team Slayer, but the map, it's kind of the scale of Pit, and there's some familiar elements, but it's a completely different layout, so I don't want people to read into that. It's not a Pit remake by any stretch. But the map takes place, it's kind of a historical battle that occurred, the fall of the planet of Tribute, where Covenant attacked the capital city. And so if you look out into the skybox, you can see that there's this Covenant war going on.
It's apocalyptic out there.
Yeah, and then you can see kind of like the colonists escaping and taking off in their ships and stuff. But it's a really interesting play space because there's an interior building that gives you some close quarters routes and kind of a little network of tunnels and rooms that you can go through. And then there's a more wide open outer route on the outer edge, on the coastline and the back wall that give you some long lines of sight for some long range weapons, but there's still ample cover like boxes and vehicles to kind of jump across if you do get onto one of the higher routes.
Free-for-all was devastating for me in that map. And like I always felt exposed from above, whether somebody was up in that sniper perch or they would come from behind in the hallway, or there's all sorts of intricate routes on the inside. This is a really complicated map. Just in various spaces, like you have this big garage. There's tons of places to go, tons of routes to take. It's such a intricate map for a small scale map. How do you guys, make sure you have that level of complexity without making it confusing?
Well, we do a lot of different landmarks on each of the sides so that you get side differentiation. You kind of understand where you are. You can kind of orient yourself on the interiors because each of the rooms has a specific thing. Like you made the call out of the garage area.
Yeah.
There's also like the command post little terminal area. There's some of the interiors on the outside that are like the towers. So there's a lot of work making sure that there's plenty of call outs and plenty of landmarks to orient yourself. But then in addition, we kept the elevation shifts very simplistic in that there's only two tiers in the map. So there's a bottom level and there's a top level. And while there's a network of paths that go between those, you'll always know kind of which one you're on and kind of that you have to look out for people coming from above or below.
What is your loadout of choice on Landfall?
Landfall, I tend to use DMR on the outside just for some mid-range control, and then I use the bolt shot for the tighter webwork interiors for people running around corners and stuff like that. And then armor ability, I like to use either hologram or thruster pack.
I was getting slaughtered by somebody who had a sniper ordnance drop. They're kind of on the coastline there, they have that view right through that hallway on the edge of the garage. That's a dangerous spot to be. Even if you're in the sniper perch, you're exposed.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kynan. Thank you for hanging out and talking about Landfall.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Mitch from IGN, sitting down once again with Kynan Pearson, 343 Industries lead multiplayer level designer. Kynan, why don't you tell me a little bit about Skyline from the Majestic map pack?
So Skyline is a very small close quarters map. It's at a scale where you can play it 2v2, 1v1 comfortably and actually have a really enjoyable experience there, but it makes for some fast-paced and frenetic fights whenever you're in 4v4 matchups. The map takes place on a space tether that's being constructed, so it's kind of a construction site that you're jumping around in for the match. But ultimately it's a symmetrical layout. There are two tiers, but again, there's lots of little cover positions that you can kind of use for any of the encounters that are coming through whenever you're sweeping from one side to the other during objective game types like capture the flag, or even if you're just playing free-for-all modes, Team Regicide, Team Rumble, or Infinity Slayer.
At IGN, we're not huge fans of the storm rifle. We never really found the balance for it. We never found the place or found it very useful. But for the first time, I started using the storm rifle really effectively in this map. This was like the one to just lay into somebody with a whole bunch of shots at a close range, catch them around the corner.
Yep. Storm rifle and the suppressor are incredibly effective in this map. There's a lot of areas that you can kind of get the drop on people, and a lot of little corners that you can duck around so that you can stay at really close range, but just out of range of like melees or even shotgun, bolt shot blasts.
Do you find the camouflage effective here as well? I mean, there's a lot of places that you could tuck away and hide and really go unnoticed, even if you weren't really wearing the camouflage.
Yeah, camo and hologram are really good on this map, definitely, because again, it's a It's a very close quarters map with tight halls and kind of tight routes, which means that just that fraction of a second of being confused by not seeing somebody or laying into somebody's hologram is going to give, you know, ample opportunity for the other person to kind of mow into them and get the drop on them.
Any tactical advice for people who are going to jump into Skyline for the first time?
Play the map first alone, kind of in Forge, just so you can run around and get to know some of the secret routes, jumping up on top of surfaces to get from the bottom tier to the top tier, or even just being on the top tier, jumping across the little extensions so that you can kind of stay on the upper path without having to walk down the long halls.
Right on. Thank you, Kind and Pearson.
Thank you.
Hey guys, it's Mitch from IGN. I'm sitting down with Kind and Pearson, lead multiplayer level designer on Halo 4. We're here to talk about the new maps on the Majestic map pack. How you doing, Kind?
Doing pretty good. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. Let's talk about Monolith. We played Monolith a little bit today. It's a really interesting map. Tell me all about it.
Yeah, so Monolith is it's a small-scale symmetrical map. It's got a very classic kind of Halo style to it. It takes place in an asteroid belt on a Forerunner installation that's actually kind of a monument for fallen warriors from the original Forerunners versus human war. So the space is, again, it's small. There are a few pockets where you have some long lines of sight, so you can get some good shots off with the beam rifle, with sniper rifle, but you're going to have a lot of close quarters encounters and kind of rallying around this central pyramid-like structure. There's a tunnel that goes through the bottom of that has power weapons below it as well.
There's a lot of really interesting spaces. Like there's it's almost like a giant bench that you can crawl underneath and sneak around and get the drop on some guys. There's lots of high perches, like you said, on either side of the main pyramid with man cannons. How do you make sure that, you know, people can use whatever weapons they want, right? Like it's small maps, but it's still like really excellent for long range. What do you guys do to make sure that it's balanced for both play styles?
Well, there's definitely a lot of playtesting. It's choice locations for cover, so you want to make sure that you leave enough open channels that are controlled so that people can have long-range, mid-range combat, as well as kind of elevation shifts. But you don't want those to be dominant positions. And I think that with these smaller maps, it's a lot easier for us to provide kind of close quarters combat situations with kind of meteor cover areas, and like that little area that you were talking about, there's these large cover blocks surrounding the center pyramid, and there's this little crouch cubby that gives you a way to kind of crouch and hide and get out of an encounter if somebody's chasing you around that main thing.
Yeah, it seemed really good for CTF. Lots of routes I could take to escape, lots of places to get the drop on people. What's your favorite match type to play on Monolith?
I actually do really enjoy Infinity Slayer on it, just because it's got more of a classic Halo feel, and it's just a good competitive 4v4 map.
Cool, right on. Thank you, Kind.
Thank you.
Nearing victory.